Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, go ahead, shoot me a call, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this current episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. And this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but I just went to this Chris Brown concert and it was lit. Had to go ahead, create me an account, and went to go ahead, get it off SeatGeek, got $20 off of my ticket. So you can do the same thing. Anyway, look, man, hey, we got bigger and better things to talk about. We got a special guest in the building today, man. Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast is here with me today. What's going on with you, Thomas?
Not much, man. Happy to be back on the show.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to have you, man. Super excited, especially to talk about the finals and the stuff that's been going on, bro. So, as we've been seeing in this finals, we see the Boston Celtics done won 2 games to the Dallas Mavericks 0. I was hoping it was going to be 1 the other night, but they ended up losing it. And my opening thoughts on that was just that, damn, looking at the stat sheets and looking at the game, I noticed a huge gap in the bench production from the Celtics compared to the Dallas Mavericks. I see the Dallas Mavericks struggle a lot coming off the bench and trying to still keep scoring and keep up with the Boston Celtics in that regard. But I just kind of want to shed some light on your thoughts of what do you see happening within this series, within the first 2 games, really, bro?
Man, this is tough because I thought the Mavericks would play much better than this. I mean, they were red hot throughout the whole entire NBA playoffs in the Western Conference. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at them right now down 2-0. It seems like they're in principal's office trouble because teams that are 31 that are up 2-0 in the finals, they're 31-5, and those teams go on to win the title. So it's not looking so good for the Mavericks. And I'm seeing, I like what you just said about the production off the bench. I'm not seeing the role players step up for the Mavericks. I'm not seeing the other superstar there in Dallas show up, that being Kyrie Irving, not helping Luka. But my thoughts on last night, though, it's just like that game was winnable for the Mavericks, and it just shows for the Celtics team, like, they don't even need Jason Tatum, arguably their best player, to play the best in order to win the series. So that's the crazy thing to me from watching this game last night.
Yeah, that was insane. That the fact that Jason Tatum has been playing the way he has been throughout this entire series, and the Celtics have been winning comfortably, is just crazy to me. And for those who didn't watch the game yesterday, Celtics ended up winning 105-98, and it was a close game. And I personally think that this was one of those games where the Mavs needed to win, bro, because game 1 they got obliterated. Nobody expected Porzingis to come out there and hoop the way he did. Like, putting up 18 points in the first half was just insane. Nobody could have predicted that. So it was like, okay, they earned that win. But come game 2, Celtics wasn't really knocking down their jump shots. You had Kyrie got himself another chance to redeem himself, and he wet the bed again. And like, Celtics didn't play their best game, so I was expecting the Mavericks to really show up big and show out, but that's just not what happened. And kind of shedding some more light on Kyrie, bro. Like, I expected Kyrie to at least, come harder than what he did, bro. He had 16 points, and that's just not enough. That's not enough, especially when you're the number 2 guy. So, I want to hear your thoughts on what Kyrie means to this series.
Yeah, he means a lot, and I like what you said. Game 1 didn't show up. Last night he had a chance to redeem himself, didn't show up. I don't know if it's the Boston crowd, that old atmosphere that he used to play in, and it's bothering him, because him and Luka, this 1-2 punch was dominating in the playoffs. And
absolutely,
he's not playing well at all. And for somebody to not even score 20 points last night and really a must-win game, Like for the stat I just said, I would have thought he would have played better offensively. But I think the Celtics have really found the code, like defensively, to figure him out. I'm really surprised about that. I didn't think there was really anybody as good as the defenders as Drew Holiday and Derek White is to slow down Luka and Kyrie. And I don't know. I don't think Kyrie is fully woken up and smelled the coffee in this series, unfortunately, so far.
No, that's facts, man. I'm just looking at the game here. I got it pulled up. Jason Tatum shot 1 for 7 for the 3-point line. Jaylen Brown shot 1 for 5 for the 3-point line. Tatum was 6 for 22 overall, but yet the Celtics still led this game most of the time very comfortably. Like, that's mind-blowing to me, and that shouldn't have been the case. I noticed the Mavs, they had a lot more defensive intensity, which I liked, but it just seems to me like the problem is they can't keep up with the scoring on the Boston Celtics. Like, they can't keep up with the Celtics with scoring. That seems to be the big issue. And everything else, like, it points to it, because if somebody would have told me Jason Tatum going to make 1 3-pointer the whole game and Jaylen Brown was going to make 1 3-pointer the whole game, it's no way I would have thought that the Celtics was going to win. It's no way. So, I kind of want to hear some thoughts on that. And I just want to hear what you have to say about, like, how complete this team is on the Celtics, because clearly if Jason Tatum, who's a star on that team, isn't showing up big, Jaylen Brown, who's a star on that team, isn't showing up big, like, and they're still getting the job done, like, that just says a lot about who you have on that roster. So I just want to hear what you got to say about that roster of the Boston Celtics. Did we underestimate them at one point because they had kind of an easy road, or what? Like, what's really the deal with this roster, man? I got to hear your thoughts.
Well, I think, in my opinion, though, I think it's like a 50-50 of what you said. Like, of course, we all knew how talented this roster was throughout the regular season. They had the best regular season record heading into the postseason.
Yeah.
But then it's like their path to the NBA Finals. They played some banged-up teams. I'm not discrediting them for it, but it just shows that even though Tatum isn't playing his best and Brown really doesn't have to play his best, that's why this roster is really good, because of the trades that they made over the last few years of getting Derek White there, Drew Holiday there, Porzingis there. These are the things that Tatum and Brown really needed all along. Players that at times struggle in the playoffs, they have a good committee now, and I think they're like a well-oiled machine now. So they're finally putting everything together for the roster. Yeah, in terms of production.
No, that's facts. So what's your prediction for Game 3? Is Dallas Mavericks gonna finally get a game, bro, or are we looking at a clean sweep, or like, what can we expect coming back to Dallas for Game 3? I just want to know, like, is it something? Is it hopeful for the Dallas Mavericks fans? Like, what can we expect?
I'm going to say it can go 50-50. Now, I'm going to say I think Dallas, they play much better in the city of Dallas, so I could say they can win Game 3. I think defensively, Jason Kidd, I should say offensively, Jason Kidd's going to make the adjustments for the coaching wise. I think the role players will show up playing back at home. But then again, it's the Celtics, and the Celtics are red hot on the road this postseason. They're 6-0. They play very well on the road, and it's kind of debatable if they play better on the road or at home this postseason. So Game 3 could go either way, but I'm going to say Mavericks pull it out for Game 3.
Game 3, that's what I'm hoping for, too. I got the Dallas Mavericks winning Game 3. I had them winning Game 2. I had them winning Game 1. So, damn it, they better show up Game 3 and get me a game. I mean, because this is crazy, man. Going, like I think you mentioned it early on, going into this series, there was conversation of the Dallas Mavericks having the best duo like ever, and the best duo to ever play in the playoffs and all of this stuff. But now we're not seeing a duo. We're seeing one player in Luka Doncic carry the Dallas Mavericks on one leg and a few bad hips and shoulders and all of that stuff, and really just making the Dallas Mavericks, putting them in survival and just waiting for somebody else to come help him out, because this is crazy, man. And I'm hoping we see the Mavericks win Game 3, because above all, regardless of who wins, I really just want to see a good series. So, I think that's probably the thing that I just want to see a good series, bro. I don't care who wins. Neither one of these teams are my favorite. But I want to see a good series above all. But we got to move on, man. Look, so, hey, if you hear something you heard, or if you heard something you want to chime in on, give us a call, 219-413-9405. Anyway, look, to wrap this up, I got Jason Tatum after the game for Game 2. And this is Jason Tatum via NBA.
You're doing more and more of the playmaking. How have you grown as a player to get to a point on this stage that you're still willing to make what is known as the right play?
It has a lot to do with that. I've been here before and we didn't win. And it's just like, we're so close to what we're trying to accomplish. Why would I let my ego or feel my need to score all the points get in the way of that? There are going to be times where, I need to score, and obviously I need to shoot better. Golly. But we always talk about do whatever it takes for however long it takes. And if I need to have 16 potential assists every single night, and that's what puts us in the best position to win, and it doesn't mean I'm the leading scorer, by all means. And, if that gives us the best chance to win, sign me up.
All right, man. So we got a quick side note here. UConn's head coach, Dan Hurley, has turned down a 6-year, $70 million offer from the Los Angeles Lakers that would have made him one of the highest paid coaches in the NBA. He said, no, I don't want to do it. I want to go back to UConn, and I want to try and win another national title. So, Thomas, bro, I got to ask, was this a smart move? Like, either way, we know he's in a win-win situation, but should he have taken that next step to go coach for the Lakers while LeBron is there and while you got some sort of pieces there in LA? Or should he, did he make the right decision to being like, you know what, I'm going to stay at UConn?
Yeah, bro. Honestly, I think Dan Hurley made the right call here, declining this deal and staying with college basketball for now with this UConn program. Mm-hmm. That Los Angeles Lakers head coaching job takes a lot of responsibility.
Man, facts.
And even though LeBron is still there, and his track record there in LA, he's won a title, but he's got 3 coaches fired over his time being there.
Man.
It's a big responsibility. I mean, I'm looking at Luke Walton that got fired, Frank Vogel, when he even helped win a championship. And then Darvin Ham just a year ago helped the Lakers get to the Western Conference Finals. So I feel like this was a good business move and a good move to stay in college basketball for now, knowing that maybe there might be a better coaching job on the table one day in the NBA for Dan Hurley. So I like this decision by him.
I 1,000% agree with you, bro. I think the Los Angeles Lakers are toxic. Especially when it comes to anything in the front office. When you go to the front office and then coaching for the Los Angeles Lakers, especially a head coach, it's toxic. And then you add LeBron to the mix. How can it be even better, bro? Like, this is just it's an unsecured job. Already coaching in the NBA has been one of the most unsecured jobs that a person can ask for, because even if you make the playoffs, even if you go to the second round, there's going to be one small reason that the media finds a way to ridicule you, and there's going to be one small reason that's going to end up getting you fired. So to me, coaching is already unstable, and then when you add LeBron to the mix, the Los Angeles Lakers to the mix, it just makes everything so much worse. And why leave UConn when it's clearly all working together for you? I mean, you got the players, you got the recruits, you clearly got the juice because you won a national championship in back-to-back years. So it's just like, why even leave? Why leave at all? So I 1,000% agree with that. Now, the Lakers, where should they go from this after moving on from Dan Hurley? Should they give J.J. Redick another call and say, hey, bro, our main guy turned us down, but we still want you here? What should they do?
That is a tough scenario because I know Ty Lue signed back with the Clippers, correct? He signed a new deal there.
Oh, yeah. He ain't going to that toxic place in L.A. Nah.
I don't see where you can go at this point. I mean, J.J. Redick, I don't think that's the best decision. I know him and LeBron are cool. They got their own podcast. Mm-hmm. But his personality of how he's been portrayed in the media being an NBA analyst, his personality, I just don't see that working in LA because he's going to tell it how it is. LeBron sometimes doesn't really like that with coaches.
Yep.
And the personnel, if he disagrees with LeBron, he also doesn't like it. LeBron really wants his way with the coaches. So I don't know. Maybe LeBron and JJ Redick have discussed this and they think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea. And I think that could lead to JJ Redick being burnt out and possibly leaving in his first season with LA. And then you're back at square one all over again. So I don't know where they go, but I don't think that JJ Redick situation will work out in LA.
Nah, it's definitely not going to work out. The Lakers don't need any more stunts. They don't need any more guys of popularity, no old retired player coaches. They need a legitimate, no, seriously, man, they need a legitimate head coach, somebody who you can bring in and you know they're a good coach. You don't have to speculate. You don't have to guess. You don't have to wonder if they'll be good or not. Someone you bring in where it's like, all right, no matter what, we're going to ride or die with this guy. Like, it ain't no, oh, he may not be a good coach anymore, or it may no. They got to hire somebody and have no concerns. Because right now, they done been through so many coaches. And since Phil Jackson, they ain't been able to find nobody. They've been through, I think it was Byron Scott, Luke Walton. It was so many more, man. Frank Vogel, Darvin Ham. Like, come on, man. It ain't that damn hard to find a head coach. Like, let's be real about the situation. It's so many good coaches in the NBA, and it ain't that damn hard to find a head coach. They just been picking the wrong guys. So that's true. Yeah, man, they've been struggling, and that side of LA is just toxic. It's toxic. So again, man, shoot us a call 219-413-9405. We'll play your take back on that next episode. Look, man, we got some news coming up for you in just a sec, so don't go anywhere. Some more topics, also women's basketball. Caitlin Clark, as you know, her fans always got a problem, so we gonna bring that up too. So just stay tuned, man. Look, we'll be right back. It's halftime, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Halftime. All right, man, news for the run. Let's get into it. UConn's head coach Dan Hurley has turned down a 6-year, $70 million offer from the Los Angeles Lakers. This would have made him one of the highest paid coaches in the NBA, but Dan Hurley said, no, I'm staying at UConn, and he's trying to win his third national title. And the Lakers, their former head coach, Darvin Ham, who was fired, he's recently rejoined the Milwaukee Bucks coaching staff as Doc Rivers' top assistant. Now, I'm a firm believer the Milwaukee Bucks will not ever succeed under Doc Rivers. No team in the NBA will succeed under Doc Rivers. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So congratulations to Darvin Ham for finding a job. I know it's tough getting fired on your day off like he did with the Los Angeles Lakers. But, hey, Doc Rivers, he's leading that team straight to first round exit for sure. Anyway, the Pittsburgh Steelers and their head coach Mike Tomlin have agreed to a 3-year contract extension going all the way through 2027. And the New York Giants tight end Darren Waller has officially called it quits in the NFL. He announced that he will be retiring from a video on his YouTube channel. Now, in the NHL, for those fans out there, the finals are going on. The Florida Panthers are currently leading the Oilers 1-0 in the series, and the two teams will battle it out tonight as Florida looks to secure another win. And this will be the Florida Panthers' first championship in franchise history, if they win, of course. Now, USA Women's Basketball has secured their Olympic team roster, and of course, man, you know, there's some drama and some outrage because there was a few names who didn't make it, but the biggest name that stuck out to everybody was the most popular player in basketball right now, Caitlin Clark. So, you know, I'm a firm believer here, like, hey, okay, we get it. It's a lot of great talent in the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark didn't make it, but to me, she is not the best talent in the WNBA. I'm a firm believer that there are 12 other women in the WNBA that are better than Caitlin Clark. So her not making the Olympic team roster is perfectly fine with me, but I want to make sure I'm not crazy. Thomas, what do you think about this? Am I crazy for saying like she shouldn't have been on the Team USA roster?
I agree with the first part. I don't believe she's a top 12 talent just yet in the WNBA. But for the Olympics team, I feel like she should be on there because I feel like what she's. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is very early for her in her professional career, making the transaction from college to the pros now, and we see that the type of treatment that she's getting already in the pros and the WNBA. But I feel like there could have been a spot for her. I mean, she's revolutionized the game for college basketball for the women's department. I feel like she didn't have to get a lot of playing times, but she could have been a good bench player to rely on or been a part of the roster. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like she could have been deserving of a spot. Not anything more than a bench role or a role position on the team, but I feel like she could have made the roster this year.
Okay, so I can accept that. And obviously she could fit on the roster and they would still be fine, whatever. But I just can't help but to think someone in the WNBA who's been snapping lately on the Dallas Wings, Arike Ogunbowale, I believe it is how you pronounce it. But she's been snapping lately, like giving straight buckets, and she doesn't get a lot of attention because she's been playing in the W for quite some time now. But also, too, the Dallas Wings aren't a huge market. It's not like the LA Sparks. It's not a huge New York Liberty type of team, like, or Las Vegas Aces where they've already won championships. So, I think that hindered it, but that's an immediate player I think of when I'm hearing, Caitlin Clark should have been on that roster, because like right now we're still seeing Caitlin Clark struggle hand in hand. But I think a lot of it in terms of choosing who's going to be on the roster is like controversy. Think about if they would have added Caitlin Clark on that roster. It would have been so controversial if she's not starting, if she's not getting playing time, if she's being hazed, like, all the small stuff that come into just traveling with a group of superstars. You get what I'm saying? So
that is true.
To me, I'm like, I get it she's talented. She's definitely the most popular player, but that comes with a price as well, because these WNBA veterans who've already been playing and won multiple championships and stuff, like, they're not trying to deal with that. Like, they're not trying to deal with that. And that's where my mind goes to it. So, immediately that's why I'm saying, nah, she shouldn't have been on there. She's already not a top 12 player in the WNBA. The women who are on the Olympic team now have won championships. They've succeeded already in the Olympics and just in general in the WNBA. So they've earned that right to be there. And if Caitlin Clark is on that team, man, it's going to be so much drama and controversy about everything, because whoever is coaching, they won't be able to just put her at the end of the bench and keep her quiet. She may be quiet, but her fans is going to be loud as hell. And I think that's the point of where it would get aggravating. And then you get your star players on that Olympic team being frustrated because it's like, okay, you're going to sit out someone who's better than her because she has more popularity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get those points based off of her popularity and people in the media create stories of watching her getting playing time. I get those points.
The media is crazy, man. The media is crazy.
Yeah.
Media is wild. Anyway, Thomas, man, anything you want to go ahead promote, go ahead, throw it out there, man. Let's hear it. Drop the socials, drop whatever you can, and then I'm gonna drop some knowledge real quick, because I always like to leave the episode with a positive note. So if you got a positive note too, feel free to throw that out there when you're giving your shout outs. Let's hear it, man.
Yeah, you guys can check us out on the Hop Podcast. You can find those on Instagram, on the Hop 08. You can find that on TikTok, same. YouTube's account is the same. You can find us on Apple Podcasts as well, on the Hop 08 as well. But Manny, I'd like to say thanks for the episode, man. Some things that stood out to me was our conversation about the NBA Finals. I definitely liked the last conversation as well, the UConn situation with how messy the Los Angeles Lakers have became. But yeah, man, great episode. Thanks for having me on, man.
Man, I appreciate it, of course. And again, man, I appreciate you for joining on. But seriously, y'all got to go check out On the Hot Podcast, man. Hey, he be on there talking about everything, and he be spitting knowledge. I'm telling you, got to check him out. I mainly see a lot of the TikTok videos and stuff too, bro. Like, man, I'll be loving it. I love all the content that you drop. So I definitely want to let you know that just like in a sincere way, like I want to legitimately tell you, man, like man, I love the content, and I love the consistency within the content too. And that's why I always enjoy, like, when we collab on an episode, whether I'm on here or I'm on your platform or you're on my platform. Like, that's why I love it, because I know you take it serious, and it's, you know, hey, that's just a great thing. That's just a great thing, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, that makes sense, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and going off of that, I'm gonna leave anybody who's listening with this positive note here. Whatever you do, if you mean business by it, take it serious, man. Put your all into it. Go hard. Do what you got to do to make sure you see some sort of success, because that energy is going to come back to you, man. If you're working hard in whatever you're doing and trying to accomplish, I promise you that same energy is going to come back to you in some way, shape, or form. You might not see your goals that same week, that same month, maybe not even that same year or the following year. Hell, maybe not even that decade. But if you stay at it and keep going, it's bound to happen, man, because you're going to get better and better. And this is just what I tell myself. This is what I tell close friends, all of that. But I'm just a firm believer. The more you work at it, the better you'll get, and the more you'll figure out how you can continue to elevate. So take that however y'all want, man. Hey, that's the knowledge I have for you. I hope that leaves you somewhat on a positive note. Carry that with you through the rest of your day or night or morning, whenever and wherever you listen to this. But anyway, man, follow me on the Instagram at The Run Podcast. Follow me on Twitter as well at Podcast The Run. But check out the YouTube as well. The Run Podcast. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Other than that, that's all we got for you today. I'm glad we was able to get the episode done. Other than that, man, hey, look, we will be back later on this week. And so on and so on and so on.